Like 90%.
Call the meeting to order, 4:31. And pledge allegiance. And going on to item number 3, roll call. I'll start us out, Bob.
Bacon present.
Saudi Jordan present.
Fig present.
Zealous present.
Keequam present.
Milky present.
Brian. Bowers present. He's here too.
Your imaginary friend or something.
Come on, good.
Seeing a quorum present, let's go on to agenda item number 4. Approval of tonight's agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Got motion by Milky, support by Bars to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the motion is approved, agenda is approved. Let's go on to item 5, approval of minutes from September 17th.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from the September 17th meeting.
I second it.
Have a motion by Fig, support by Chowdhury to approve the September 17th meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the minutes are approved. Going to item number 6, public comment. Anybody? Anybody online? Nobody in the audience? So let's go on to item number 7. Accounts payable for September.
Thank you. I'm standing in for Sherry this evening. She's under the weather at the moment. So you have the check register for the East DDA district. And you see some of the usual items there, consumers' energy charges for street lighting. We installed the fall banners at the interchange. The charge for that is there. Teal and Turf also winterized the irrigation system, and so that item is on there as well. So the total charges for this month came to $20,343.07 for the East DDA fund.
Question, comments?
Landscaping around overpass on Pickard. Typically, we don't see green scene there.
So this is the progress invoice for what was done.
Yep. Yep, now I remember.
Yep.
Sorry.
Did they put who put the boulders?
That's part of it. That was
Okay.
part of the plan.
All right. More questions? Get a motion?
Motion to pay the East EDA bills as presented.
Second it.
Got a motion by Zalad, support by Bacon. To approve the East DDA bills, check register. Hearing no more comments, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the East DDA check register is approved.
All right. There is no check register for the West DDA this month. There were no payables for the West DDA. So we'll move on to the revenue and expenditure reports and the balance sheet. For the East DDA, you have the revenue expenditure report for the period ending September 30th. The main item I'd note is that you'll see the bulk of our revenues have now been received. The property tax revenues are in. They're higher, a little higher than was initially anticipated. The expenditures you just approved in the check register are reflected in this report. Overall, looking at the balance sheet for the East DDA, you'll see we have a healthy fund balance, ending fund balance of $2,443,464 and some change. Happy to answer questions about the East DDA fund. Hearing none. Move on to the West EDA Fund. So again, you have the revenue expenditure report before you, ending September 30th. Here again, you see the property tax revenues have been recorded, a little higher than anticipated. There'd be no new expenditures this month, so the numbers there have not changed from the previous month. For the West EDA, the balance sheet, you see that also reflected there with no additional liabilities and leaving an ending fund balance at this point of $1,597,270 and change.
I should have asked this on the first one. So certificate of deposit, is that just one CD or should that be S and have multiple CDs?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, whether that's multiple or not. But it's a category, so it.
That's what I wondered, maybe it should be S on the certificates or whatever it is. It seemed unlikely to have 1.1 million with one CD with
Yeah.
one organization.
She,
So.
she has,
Unless it's at his.
I don't know if it was,
Okay.
I don't know if it was at the Board of Trustees or if it was here, but I'd asked a question about it, and she indicated there were multiple.
Yeah,
But
that's what
I don't know that for sure, but
That's what I would assume. Okay,
That would be my expectation.
Yes.
I don't want to say it, I'll let you say it, because
Well,
I have not asked the question of her. But that would be my expectation, that she's
I just haven't
always
changed the
able-
title on that, just.
Any more questions or comments on the financials? Hearing none, let the record show the financials were presented, received, and filed. Looking at agenda item 7C in your packet, you have your board member matrix. For your review. And moving on to agenda item number 8, new business. Looks like we have a few requests for board action items. What do we got there, Rodney?
Our first item is a request to approve the fiscal year 2025 budget for the East EDA, the West EDA funds, and to forward the approved budgets to the Township Board with a recommendation for their final action. You have our memo dated October the 9th, and it summarizes the things we discussed the previous month. These items are reflected in the budget document you have following the memo. Some of the key items, for the East EDA, the total operations budget is proposed $2,185,470. Some of the big items on that list you'll see on page 12, the first page of the memo. You see the $500,000 that you approved last month as part of a participation agreement with the Board of Trustees for contribution to the water fund. There's also $200,000 that's budgeted for planning the reconstruction of the roads in the industrial area over Packard Street, Corporate Way, Corporate Drive. This is intended to prepare the ground with plans and all the background engineering, right-of-way information we need to work with the road commission on getting that project done. Sidewalk projects reflected there, and also $400,000, as we talked about last month, has been reserved for potential land assembly. As projects or land become available for where bring the East EDA into that may help to facilitate redevelopment. We also have in here $450,000 that's been carried over from the last year for the underground irrigation system reconstruction. On that topic, although it's not part of this budget, I did just receive a proposal from our irrigation design expert. It didn't make this agenda, but it will be on your next one, take a look at. So, yeah, it just came in too late to be able to get into this packet, so. But anyway, and then we have the carryover the $40,000 again for replacement in Enterprise Industrial Park sign. So overall, based on this budget, our fiscal year-end balance of the East DDA fund would be $929,406. Happy to answer any questions about the East DDA fund.
Have we made any additional progress on the Packard Corporate Airport Road with the road commission and all of that mess that, understanding? I didn't know if anything's developed in the last month.
No, nothing's developed in
Okay.
that score. So the key with the road commission is, I think, really the right-of-way information. They just simply, they want to know for certain that we have the right, or they have the right, to build roads in those areas that they do not consider public roads currently. The right-of-way information that we've received when we've collected on that all shows that those were public roads. They were intended to be, but they were never accepted by the road commission. The developer simply ran out of gas before he got to that point. But nonetheless, this expenditure would allow that title work and survey work to be done to verify all of that, to make sure we have what we need.
Thank you.
Right. This is just for the East DDA?
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2025 budget for the East DDA fund and West DDA fund, and to forward the approved 2025 budgets to the Township Board of Trustees with a recommendation of final adoption.
Support.
We haven't really talked about the West DDA yet.
Why don't we
Certainly.
We'll
let
make
that motion stay, you finish up that, and then we'll just finish the motion.
Yeah. Here.
So the West DDA, smaller appropriations budget, $427,650. These are all essentially carryover items that you see here from the last year for projects that were not completed, including the sidewalk project on Bradley Street, for example, some street lighting, potential projects there. These are carryover items generally. Under this proposed budget, the end of the year fiscal 2025 fund balance for the West DDA would be $1,652,598. And happy to answer any questions about the West DDA fund. At this point, we don't have any big ticket projects in the West DDA.
We
Just
have a
one
motion.
question, Valley Structure was the only one who took advantage of our signage and beautification.
So far, we've had
No more interest in that at all, nothing, nobody's came forward with anything?
You know, we've talked to 3, 4 other, at least 4, I believe, other businesses that have asked or have shared, where I thought there was an opportunity but no one has actually pulled the trigger yet. Some have come close. They've been talking about it, but nobody's actually pulled the trigger to seek a grant.
Okay.
Certainly that money's carried over, as you
We'll
see.
carry over, okay, yeah.
And
Okay.
we'll continue to
40,000,
promote it.
yeah, that's great. Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor by Zalid. Didn't you have a support? And a support by Bacon. Hearing no more comments or questions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same.
Thanks for putting all this together.
Yep.
Well, and to Director Teal, too, I'm assuming.
Yes. I will pass that on to her, yes. Thank you.
Yep, thanks. So going on to new business 8B, we got the Mr. Car Wash.
This is a request. We had one a couple of years ago for the party store on Pickard Road, near the new Dollar General. Asked to have a tree taken down if that was granted. The owners and operators of Mr. Car Wash have come to us and made a similar request you see here. They have 4 trees in front of their property. They have some landscaping of their own. That's the hedgerow that you see in front of their property. But between the hedgerow and the sidewalk, there are 4 trees that were planted as part of our past efforts for planting trees along M20. They are all the ginkgos, as noted in the report. Unfortunately, they've grown to the point where at least 2 of them directly block visibility of the Mr. Car Wash sign. They've submitted a request to remove all 4. We talked about in a report about each tree individually. The first tree kind of going from east to west, the first tree nearest the Elizabeth Street intersection. It's one of the smaller trees, not the smallest. It's interesting, all 4, if you've been out there, they're very different trees in their height and health. But they're all 4 planted at the same time. So they've have different luck on that score in terms of their vitality. The tree nearest to Elizabeth Street does partially block visibility of the sign. It's also located in an area where what our ordinance would call a corner visibility zone, where normally we don't allow landscaping or anything like that. It's actually a tree that I think should be taken down, just from the perspective of safety and potential safety hazard. I think it's worth looking at having that removed. It also would have the benefit to open up visibility of the sign for westbound traffic. So as we noted in our report, we have no objection to authorizing Mr. Car Wash folks to remove that tree number 1. Tree number 2 is the largest and the healthiest, but it's directly in front of the long edge of the sign, and it has very little impact on visibility. There's a couple of branches that are starting to grow over to the sign, and as we note in our report, we've actually taken action on that already. We've asked our landscaping contractor, Gunnar Lawn Care, to put that on the schedule, go over and do a little trimming there, and in this fall, and bring some of those branches back a few feet so it won't impact the sign as the tree continues to grow. So tree number 2, although they've asked for it to be removed, we don't recommend it. It's not having any impact on visibility of the sign. Tree number 3 is the smallest and the least healthiest of the 4, but its placement is almost perfect to block the sign for eastbound traffic. So that one is the second one that we would recommend, or have no objection to authorizing its removal. It does directly impact visibility of the car wash sign for traffic that's coming up at a time when they should be able to see it in order to make a decision to turn onto Elizabeth Street and into their property. The 4th tree, the one furthest to the west, has a modest impact on visibility, only for eastbound traffic in the right-hand lane, and only at a long distance. It doesn't impact visibility at the time when drivers are even starting to make any decisions about making a maneuver to turn into the car wash. So that one we also recommend be allowed to remain. And with that, if you're comfortable with our recommendation to only take down 2 of the trees, I recommend that we not require any replacements. We still have 2 trees there in the road frontage, and along with the hedgerow that they have, it does provide a nice natural appearance there while still giving visibility for the property owner and the business. So with that, our recommendation is as noted here, is to authorize the owners to remove 2 of the trees. In the resolution, I apologize, it's kind of long, but if you look at the resolution on page 25 of the packet, if you're comfortable with this, I'd recommend you use the resolution language because it describes the trees. The 1, 2, 3, 4 is a map I created. It's not something the owner provided. And just so we're absolutely clear on which trees we're authorizing to take down, this gives us a description of them. And then we did include 2 conditions. These are the same ones we asked for from the party store. And that worked out just fine. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions about this request. Unfortunately, Mr. Hagerman, I will mention, he could not be here tonight. He asked me to just note his regrets that he could not be in attendance tonight. If you feel you'd like to hear from him, we can carry this over to next month. But he was also comfortable with you moving ahead with the item as you see it. He's seen this report, and we've talked about it.
I mean, I drove by it. I go through the car wash there quite often, but I think you guys nailed it.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I was thinking, how it should be handled.
Yep.
To get those two out, save a couple. I mean, I've always been pretty conservative, wanting to keep the trees, because
Yep.
we've had a few requests over the years, but I think you guys described this method perfect.
As those trees continue to grow, you mentioned the trimming on number 2 would help clarify vision. Is that something that might be a thing to look at from the view of other signs as a preemptive to maybe do some pruning?
We do have money, some money in the budget, both for this year, for tree removal and trimming.
Because as those continue to grow, if the pruning is done, they might actually canopy higher than the signs. I don't know what the expected height of those trees are, or if some of the pruning would open up clarity for vision.
Yeah.
Like you were mentioning on that Mr. sign, I could see pruning a couple trees with, or limbs on that would, because it is a big tree, might create a lot more clarity, and other things in that situation might be worth considering that as well, so that people know that we're looking at it from their perspective of, we want people to see your signs, so we're out here trimming them, but yet we still like the trees.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with taking a look at that, seeing where we might be able to make some changes, some trimming to help some of the other signs. This particular species will not get that much taller. That number 2 is not full height yet, but it's actually getting close. According to the database on the landscaping, the Q type of ginkgo tree only gets to about 30 feet tall maximum, and about 15 feet in diameter. So it's not a large tree.
Which is probably a good thing anyway.
Yeah. But, yeah, we certainly can take a look at some other situations around the area. And what I did tell Mr. Hagerman is that if he finds in the future that there's a need to look at this again, that he simply can provide another request. There's no harm to doing that.
No, I'll second Tom's comments. Very well put together, thought out report. Very clear, easy to make a call on this one, so. I remember back in the day spending a lot of time about trees. And so when it's presented like this and you talk to the property owner, makes it a no-brainer, so.
Well, that 2010 policy that you adopted is still showing its benefits. I should share it with anybody that asks, and it does make pretty clear what you would like and why, and so
Yep.
what you received back reflected that policy statement.
Good. Need a motion?
Yep. Nope.
You wanna read it, Bob?
I don't have a whole packet here.
Oh, okay, well, I'll tear into it. Make a motion to authorize the owners of the Mr. Car Wash at 5190 East Picker Road, PID 14-146-00-1 or 012-01 to remove the existing East Pickard Road M20 sign, tree number 1, located east of the existing freestanding sign at the intersection with Elizabeth Street, and existing tree number 3 located in front of the center of the existing hedgerow on the Mr. Car Wash lot, both of which are blocking visibility to their freestanding sign, subject to the following conditions. 1, documentation of liability insurance for the contractor hired to remove the tree shall be provided to the Community and Economic Development Director prior to removal. And 2, The project shall include removal of the tree, the stump, and all debris, replacement of the topsoil to level the site, and seeding of the disturbed area with grass seed.
Support.
Got a motion by Zalad,
Bars.
support by Bars. Any more comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the motion is approved. Thank you. And moving on to item 8C. What do we got, the schedule?
This, it's our annual adoption of the our meeting schedule. You have the request for board action that has this, the proposed schedule on it, page 28 of your packet. Couple of things, you'll see the informational meetings, they were following the same format, same timing as with past years, where the first informational meeting will be on its own day, and the second one, the repeat, will be before and separate from our scheduled August meeting. And one other item, I'll just note the April 16th joint meeting. This is the annual meeting. Our Board of Trustees invites all of our boards and commissions to come together with the Board of Trustees for an annual meeting. Timing is interesting this year. We have our regular meeting on the 15th. This meeting is on the next night, on the 16th. So we're spending a lot of time together that week. But, I encourage all of you to plan to attend the joint meeting. It certainly is. It's an interesting meeting. It's good to hear from each of the boards and commissioners as they kind of report out what they're looking for. And as our Board of Trustees has asked for, I shouldn't take your thunder on this. Why don't you do, if you wouldn't mind, Brian, maybe just sharing what you would like to hear from me.
Well, the board has discussed, in the past, this is part of our, I'm going to take a step back, our policy governance, that we call this annual meeting, and in the past, it has always been all about, what did you do the last year? And we didn't find that as, I mean, it's good information, but what I think the board really wants to hear is, what is the vision for the future? Yep. Because we're all citizens and residents of this community, what do we want to see as residents for the township moving forward? Because, and part of the timing on this used to be an August meeting, which is pretty late in the budgeting process, which is why it's now moved into April, is so that we can use that to set goals for the following year and begin to get proper budgets for that. Because what better people to ask than the people that are volunteering and serving their community? But we also want to hear, if there's things the EDA did, it's worth tooting the horn too. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense.
And it is I've really enjoyed the meeting. I know the other trustees have, and Tom always does a great job of presenting for the EDA, I think.
Likewise, you do a great job running it.
So this today is simply a motion to set your schedule for 2025, which would include that joint meeting.
Your motion on the resolution motion?
Make a motion to approve the schedule of regular and informational meetings of the Economic Development Authority Board for the 2025 calendar year to take place at 4:30 p.m. on the third Tuesday of each month, except and otherwise noted in the schedule, in accordance with the requirements of the Open Meetings Act.
Seconded.
Motion by Biggs, supported by Chowdhury. Hearing no more comments or questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the motion is approved. Thank you. And moving on to agenda item number 9, pending business.
None at this time.
Nothing there. Item 10, director comments.
Just a couple of items. We had a pre-construction meeting earlier today with the contractor, Berger Sand and Gravel, for our water system upgrades. This is for this board. The main part of it is the looping of the water system from M20 Pickard Road down Somerton Road to Broadway to loop that water line around the Enterprise Industrial Park and add some hydrants along Somerton Road. It also includes transmission line upgrade, or a new transmission line from a new well site on Deerfield over to the water treatment plant. So that project should be getting underway shortly. The contractor is very interested in moving that ahead. All the permits have been received, so we expect to start to see activity on that. Our part over in the East DDA will be one of the last parts, so you'll see that happening next spring. Most of the work this might be happening this fall and over into the winter, if weather holds, will be on the Deerfield site for the transmission line over to the treatment plant. But as I said, we'll be seeing that next year. The contractor indicated that they would likely need to close Somerton Road while they're doing that work along Somerton, simply because of the pavement and proximity to roadside ditches and that sort of thing, that they're expecting to have to close Somerton and have a detour for a time. The other item, the road construction project, you can see that the paving is basically done along M20. They are definitely on schedule to get that done before the end of the month. I expect significantly before the end of the month. I've been told that all of the items that we had remaining for them to take care of and put back have been put back. I just need to stop out and verify that everything's where it's supposed to be. We will have a charge. We have our last two round concrete planter barrels were returned last week or two, and we'll be filling those with plant material, potting soil basically, before winter hits, so that we don't have an issue with water ponding in there. And so you'll likely see a charge for that in the next month. We did the same thing with the other ones on the south side of the road that were removed earlier this year. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Quiet crew.
Everybody's good?
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Rodney.
Thank you.
Well, hearing no more comments or questions, I think we call this meeting adjourned, 5:05. We'll see everybody Tuesday, November 19th. Thank you.
Very good.